You tell yourself to stop thinking about it, just stop. But the moment you try, the thoughts come back stronger. The conversation from earlier today, the message you sent, the decision you still haven't made. Your mind keeps replaying the same scene, searching for something, some missing answer, some hidden mistake. And the strange part is, you know it's pointless, yet your brain refuses to let it go. Why does your mind keep solving problems that don't exist anymore? And why does thinking about it more never actually give you peace? To understand that, we have to look at what your brain believes it's doing. Because overthinking isn't random. Your mind is trying to help, but it's using the wrong tool. Overthinking rarely feels dramatic. It's quiet, subtle, almost invisible from the outside. You're sitting in a room with other people. Everyone is talking, but inside your head, a completely different conversation is happening. Why did I say that? Did they notice that pause? Maybe I sounded weird. Your brain replays the moment again and again, sometimes hours later, sometimes days. And this doesn't only happen with conversations. It happens with decisions. You research endlessly. You imagine different outcomes. You try to predict every possible mistake. Yet the more you think, the less certain you feel. Overthinking slowly spreads into other parts of life. You hesitate before sending messages. You delay decisions that should take minutes. You mentally rehearse situations that may never happen. And over time, something deeper begins to change. Your identity. You start seeing yourself as someone who is bad at decisions, someone who is always anxious, someone whose mind never stops. But here's the strange paradox. Overthinking often comes from the same place as intelligence. Your brain is good at pattern recognition, good at imagining possibilities, good at spotting risks. And that ability, when turned inward, creates a loop. A loop where thinking creates more thinking, and the brain begins solving problems that thinking itself created. But if overthinking is just thinking too much, why can't you simply stop? To answer that, we have to understand what your brain is actually trying to do. First, something important. Your brain isn't malfunctioning. It's protecting you. From the brain's perspective, overthinking is not a mistake. It's preparation. Your mind believes that if it analyzes something long enough, you'll eventually find the perfect answer, the perfect response, the perfect decision. This belief comes from a basic survival system in the brain. When uncertainty appears, your brain tries to reduce it, because historically, uncertainty meant danger. If our ancestors didn't understand a sound in the bushes, thinking about it longer increased survival. But modern life created a problem. Most of our uncertainties today have no clear answers. Social situations, future plans, other people's opinions. Your brain still tries to solve them, even when they're unsolvable. So overthinking isn't a failure of control, it's a survival system applied to problems that thinking cannot resolve. And once you see that, a deeper question appears. If thinking is supposed to reduce uncertainty, why does overthinking make you feel more uncertain? To understand this, imagine your brain as a prediction machine. It constantly asks one question: what will happen next? This process is part of what neuroscientists call predictive processing. Your brain builds models of reality, then updates them when new information appears. But when the brain doesn't have enough information, it fills the gap with imagination. That's where overthinking begins. Imagine a detective investigating a case. At first, there are only a few clues, so the detective creates theories. But instead of closing the case, new theories create more possibilities. Soon there are too many suspects, too many explanations, too many outcomes. That's exactly what happens in your brain. Overthinking is a detective who refuses to close the case, even when the case cannot be solved. There's also a chemical component. When your brain detects uncertainty, it activates the anterior cingulate cortex. This region monitors errors in conflict. Its job is to signal, something doesn't make sense. The problem? The signal doesn't stop until the brain believes the conflict is resolved. So your mind keeps searching and searching. Each new thought feels like progress, but it actually increases the number of possibilities. More possibilities mean more uncertainty. More uncertainty activates the monitoring system again, and suddenly, you're stuck. Not because you're weak, but because your brain is caught in a loop. A loop where thinking creates more thinking, which leads to a simple but uncomfortable truth. Overthinking cannot be solved by thinking harder. So how do you break the loop? Not by forcing your brain to stop, but by giving it a different signal. A signal that the search is over. Breaking overthinking isn't about controlling thoughts. It's about retraining how your brain handles uncertainty. Here are 4 ways to do that. When you notice the same thought repeating, say internally, "This is the overthinking loop." Labeling thoughts activates the prefrontal cortex, which regulates emotional reactions. Research shows that naming mental states reduces activity in the amygdala, the brain's threat detector. You replay a conversation from earlier. Instead of analyzing it again, you pause and think, "Ah, the loop started." That moment of recognition breaks automatic thinking. It turns unconscious rumination into conscious awareness, and awareness weakens the loop. Move attention from thoughts to physical sensations. Your breathing, your footsteps, the feeling of holding an object. Overthinking happens in the default mode network, the brain system responsible for internal thinking. Sensory attention activates different networks tied to the present moment. Instead of replaying a mistake while walking home, you focus on the rhythm of your steps, the temperature of the air, the sound of distant traffic. This doesn't eliminate thoughts instantly, but it stops feeding them, and thoughts fade when they stop receiving attention. Give yourself a specific time to decide, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then commit. Decision deadlines reduce cognitive load. The brain stops searching for endless options when time constraints appear. You're choosing between 2 ideas for a project. Instead of researching for hours, you set a 10-minute timer. When the timer ends, you choose. Not because it's perfect, but because the brain performs better with constraints. Endless time invites endless thinking. Recognize when a problem has no answer, then deliberately stop searching. Many overthinking loops revolve around social uncertainty. What did they think? Did I sound weird? These questions cannot be solved with more thought. After sending a message, you start analyzing it. Instead of rewriting the conversation in your head, you tell yourself, "This question has no answer." That statement signals closure, and closure quiets the monitoring system in the brain. All of this leads to one simple mental model. Think of overthinking like a search engine stuck on refresh. Your brain keeps hitting the search button, looking for new information. But sometimes, there are no more results. No new clues. No better answer. The solution isn't finding the perfect thought. It's closing the search tab. Your brain doesn't need perfect certainty. It only needs enough certainty to move forward. And movement is what slowly retrains the mind, not endless analysis. Your mind will probably overthink again. That's normal. The brain evolved to analyze, to predict, to search for meaning. But over time, you'll start noticing the loop earlier. You'll recognize when thinking becomes circling, and in that moment, you'll remember something simple. Peace doesn't come from answering every question. Sometimes peace comes from letting the question remain unanswered. Because your life is not meant to be solved like a puzzle. It's meant to be lived, even when the mind is still searching. And sometimes the moment you stop chasing the perfect answer is the moment your mind finally becomes quiet. If this helped you, like this video and subscribe, because every week we break down how your mind really works. See you in the next one.